time using Zoom.
So that is why we are here.
I think. Oh, yeah. Is it working? Is it working? My goodness, I think it is working. It's still loading. We start on in the very second I have a I see something on my screen. I am going to start this. There we are. There we are. Okay. I guess. No. This is complicated. I bet we're on. I bet like 1,000 people are currently watching.
No, we're not on. You were on, but you stopped it. It was on for like a minute.
Oh, there we are. We're back on. Yeah. Okay, that is awesome, everyone. We already had some comments in, but we changed. So welcome everyone to the All Shift Happily Now live. I do have an echo. I don't. Oh, it's coming from me. It's me. Okay. Welcome to the All Shift Happily Now live. This time, first time on Zoom, but also live on YouTube. We have some beautiful guests. First of all, welcome, the four of us together, finally. Sarah Brooksman-Cosm, hi. You're muted.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So cool. We got to talk about some of the stuff that you're doing when we finished our meditation. Then we got Kedrich back with us, who had a birthday last time.
Hey.
Good to see you, Kedrich.
That's good to be here again. Good to see you again. I'm glad we're doing this, and I had no doubt we're making the magic happen all over the world.
Yeah, thank you so much. He's referring to our internal messages because Google, short noticedly quit a little bit of his service due to some transactions, and so we're on Zoom today, and it worked. So thank you for the magic. And then we have Sarah Zula. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining in too.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tim. So happy to be back.
It's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm Tim. Hi. And we do have a special guest. Well, we have multiple special guests. And before I welcome in our special guest for today, let's say hello to the golden ticket winners. Today, there's Elisa there. Hi, Elisa. I think you need to say something so you appear.
Sorry. So good to be here again. It's been a while.
Yeah, I was completely underestimating the Thanksgiving tradition in the US. I was shocked. People were busy eating vegan turkey. Daniela, hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited and honored to be with all of you here and shipped all together. Mwah.
Beautiful. How's your experience with Thanksgiving since you're all from Europe too?
I was getting ready and I was so excited to be on with you, but I couldn't show where I was, but I was with you on and listening. John was fantastic. My heart opened to every star in the universe when he was playing the guitar.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you so much, Daniela, for joining us. From the true north, Greg, hi. Welcome to, hello to Canada.
Hello from the strong and free. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
Strong and free. Yeah, beautiful. Good to see everyone. And then, of course, we have the man behind Portal to Ascension, doing this for quite some time now. I heard over, what did you say, 10,000 mind-blowing episodes on Portal to Ascension. So welcome, Neil Gore. Hi, Neil.
Thank you, Tim. Good to be here with you guys.
It's so amazing. Yesterday we had like a live on your podcast, and that was so cool. And it was so easy, you know, to communicate. And some of this, the knowledge that you shared with us, even though I was the one who was interviewed, you were sharing so much knowledge that matches some of the stuff that is in these advanced projects. And I felt like we got to talk about this. So
that was a very
welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
It was super great.
Yeah, you guys.
Also, welcome to everyone in the chat. Let me see who is here. We have a lot of people here. Mike is there. Teresa is there. Portal to Ascension is there too, which is so cool. And in the chat, Laura is here. Brett is there. You all should, by the way, follow Brett because he has like amazing, cool content on Instagram. Jen, Susanna, thank you so much. I'm gonna read the chat every now and then. So, and if you have questions for our special guest Neil, then just drop them in the chat. So what we want to do, inspired by all these beautiful podcasts, and you see it's a new background and we all look differently. We want to turn this more into a bit of a show. We got these wonderful 4 speakers here, and we are going to talk about some of the projects and some of the insights that every one of us wants to share. And also every now and then we want to have a guest. Last time it was John, very, very appreciated, beautiful soul. He played music for UFOs and had thousands of encounters, which just beautiful, just amazing, showing how much we are all connected. And this time we have Neil. So let's start with some interview of you, Neil. And again, everyone feel free to just get into the conversation with Neil too. So we can all talk a bit about his background. So do you want to just tell everyone who you are and what Portal to Ascension actually is?
Yeah, definitely. So hello, everybody. So good to be here with you all. And my name is Neil. I am the founder of Portal to Ascension. And the journey really of how everything came about, you know, it kind of starts with my upbringing, really, because I was raised Hindu. I'm Indian. I was born in England, in London, and I moved to California when I was 12. So I was raised in a Hindu family, and we pretty much did, you know, I did everything I was told. I followed all the rituals. I went to temple. I was even like a little Indian kid singing hymns in temple. And when I got a little older, I realized that I really was just doing this because it was culturally, it was something that I was culturally expected to do. I was expected to show up, and there was no real like God or anything beyond that. So I kind of actually grew up when I was 18 years old and I was graduating high school in 2000. I started judging my upbringing and saying, you know, I was raised Hindu, but I was an atheist Hindu. That's what I would call myself. And then as I grew older, like just in the last few years, I've shifted my perspective, and I realized because I was raised Hindu, I was never told it's the only way, right? So many people are told, like, you know, in the Abrahamic religions, right? And then you can probably go beyond that. This is the only way. Jesus is the only way to God. Muhammad is the only way to God. And I realized because I was never told it was the only way, I was, you know, I grew up in England, like most Indian kids that are born in England, celebrating Christmas. I was watching King of Kings every year. I was watching Ben-Hur, Moses, and I believed in all that stuff. So as I was growing older, I started kind of wondering, why is it that we speak about, you know, why is it that I can accept Jesus and Moses? However, conventionally, I've been told that pagan religions, polytheistic religions, are completely separate than monotheistic religions, and they evolve separately. So when I was 18 years old, 2000, 2001, my first question really was, what is the root of all religion? That's what I wanted to know. That's what started everything. Is there a root to it all? Because I saw two similarities within Christianity and Hinduism. You know, Krishna, for example, there's a reason why Krishna has Chris at the beginning of its name that follows Christ, right? Krishna was born to a virgin mother. Krishna had a carpenter father. He was known as the savior. He died with a spear in his side, like Jesus on top of the cross. So I started wondering, is this religion Christianity based on older stories, or did the universe repeat the same experiences over and over in different cycles, like a cosmic soup, a genetic soup? So that was one story. And the other one was, as I was researching, trying to go back older and older to scriptures, I stumbled on the Sumerian scriptures, the 7 tablets of creation. So this is when I was like 18 years old and 19. So I would be at Panera Bread, after college, and I would have the Quran, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Sumerian scriptures, and I would highlight all the similarities. And I started realizing that so many of these religions, all the ones I just mentioned, plus more, have took all the text from these ancient scriptures. So I was like, wow, I'm getting somewhere. So side note, for 10 years, I thought I found the oldest scriptures in the world. But now I realize that Egypt is older than Sumer, but they misdirected us deliberately to make us think Sumer is the oldest religion because they don't want us to know the true age of Egypt, right? That's a whole other conversation. So as I started looking at the Sumerian scriptures, I realized the Old Testament is almost verbatim from there, even the Epic of Gilgamesh about Noah. But instead of speaking about God, it says gods, right? It says multiple gods, the same text, but gods. And instead of saying gods, it's an androgynous god. It's not female or male. It's a neutral energy. And instead of saying gods with a neutral energy, it actually said neutral beings from the stars that come from this planet, right? And here's a 2-scale map of the solar system and where their planet exists. So I was like, okay, wait, either all religion in the world is complete BS because it comes from an ancient sci-fi story, or maybe a lot of these religions, including the one I was raised with, are metaphors and stories of beings that have visited us from other planets. So that started my rabbit hole deep dive. I found a few different people at that time. Jordan Maxwell, when I was 18 years old, I found him, William Henry, Nassim Haramein, and Jim Self. And if you know any of those guys, it's a very full circle awareness. That took me back to my roots as an Indian, and I started researching the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata and seeing these stories as cosmic battles, chariots in the skies with lights all around it, throwing lightning bolts at each other, races in the Bhagavad Gita from Earth to Pluto and back on golden chariots. And I started wondering, are these stories of celestial beings? Right, so that was kind of how it all started. And Tim, I can keep going unless you want me to stop for a second, because there's a long journey that happened after that, but I'll stop for a moment. Keep going.
That's beautiful. I was just about to switch off a download so I have a better connection. I'm wondering, because I feel like there's so much about Jesus. There are some of the tales that Jesus might be a historical figure. There are other signs that it might be like a cosmic wave that has to do more with cyclic processes and more to do with cosmic constellations. And I'm wondering what your take is on that, but I'm also wondering how all of you, Sarah and Kedrich, think about that. Because I believe this could have come up in some of your sessions, Sarah, isn't it? Like, did you ever receive any information about Jesus or the history of that time?
You're muted, Sarah.
Okay. Yeah, it's come up a few times. It's according to my clients, he seemed to be a real person. He even learned a lot of the ancient Druidic practices. I've been learning some of his old practices. So, I mean, according to my clients, he seemed to be a real person. What about you, Neil? Hi, Neil, by the way. Nice to see you again.
And so for me, when as I was waking up, and I really enjoyed Christmas. Christmas is a huge holiday for me growing up. And then when I woke up to this stuff, I went kind of anti-Christmas, anti-Jesus, and I started thinking that these are all stories that were made up in order to exert control. And I started figuring that all these stories were from older scriptures reused, because there's actually, I have an article on my website on all the Jesus-like figures and the same stories, even Christos from Greece. So I actually went like all the way to the other side of the spectrum. But now, fast forward into this moment, I've actually accepted that he was a real figure that existed. And I feel that other stories of other avatars and people that existed around his time, maybe a little before, have been put onto Jesus. You know, that we've sensationalized the story. I did a presentation on Pythagoras' life. It's a 4-hour presentation on my website. And in that story, the last 30 minutes is called Is Pythagoras Jesus? Because after 3.5 hours of me doing this presentation, you can't help but not be curious about all the similarities to Jesus' life. So it seems that they actually took a lot of Pythagoras' story and what happened in his life and used it for Jesus. So that's what I'm feeling, but I do think that he existed.
That's really interesting. How much of the old traditions are within Christian reality and religion, Kedrich?
Yes, when I hear these stories, I can't help but go back to some of the old Gnostic texts, back to the originals, and then see some of those reflections even in the New Testament and all over the world. And even something that Bashar was saying is that this figure of Yeshua, despite the stories, despite the tales, despite, and I'm going to say it this way, despite some of the retellings so that it fit the narrative of certain rulers over the years, let's put it that way, despite all of that, what we have is a figure that came to our 3D world to teach us that we are more than 3D. It's even said in his own text that what I'm doing, you can do. I'm just the son of man. I'm just what you are. And it's not that he was here to be the leader to show us, you know, what we're to follow in his footsteps, so to speak, but he was like a Buddha in a sense. He was here to show us that we had that divine spark and that we can illumine that divine spark within us and that we are more than just the physical 3D limitations, that if we believe in our own selves, we believe in our connection to the universe, the source, whatever we want to call it, then we are limitless in our creative potential. And so I love to look at those stories in that way as a figurehead of someone to emulate, someone to be. And this is what we find in stories all over the place, is that there was beings, advanced beings all over the world that go by many different names, all teaching us the same thing, that we are more than just this physical limitation of this world. And here are the processes that you can learn. It's kind of funny, they show us the techniques, but the techniques are useless until we practice them. And then we awaken, and then we go, oh, that's what this is. That's what that is. And now life becomes a whole lot more, and we tune into that higher frequency being. So that's my impression of what Yeshua ben Yusuf was.
I find that super interesting because I was always wondering. I've never found evidence if Jesus was a real historical figure, even though I asked Being Six, and Being Six said, yes, there is a historical figure, like almost like a guru person, not so much different from any one of us, because every one of us can reach a certain degree of mastery. And I think that is, it's been done many, many times on this planet with multiple different prophets and avatars. But there's also from Orion, and really, and I'm wondering if maybe Sarah, you've heard about this too. And it's really hard and complicated to put that into words, but there is some spiritual belief coming from Orion that has a similar story, just as we have for Jesus. So you could basically put that into like a Christ consciousness. And they are saying that at this very moment, because of some of the tragic moments, how people were not ready to, back in that time, were not ready to integrate it, that it's being held back at the very moment due to an action from a civilization that is actually planet Saturn. And they were making us aware of how similar Satan and Saturn is in the way that it's pronounced. But it's really challenging to actually put that into a human perspective, because these things are so exotic at times. I don't know if you heard something about this kind of extraterrestrial spirituality, Sarah. But at times it
No,
comes up.
but I want to ask about that. I've never heard about that before. So it makes sense that they would have a type of spirituality because it seems like in some of these races they have a hierarchy. And so I'm curious about that. But I have heard that, and I don't know if this is true, that Saturn was broadcasting some like disharmonious frequency towards the planet for some reason because they were angry. Why?
Why? Oh, that's an interesting. I feel like we are discovering we are on something big. It's kind of challenging to translate that because also it comes from a Zeta Reticuli species, which is also part of the Orion belt, but they have like a more spiritual approach to life. And according to them, Saturn itself is an entity. It's a living being just as much as Gaia, this planet, is a living being too. But we keep it with our own minds. We keep it as like a life, a lifeless planet or something, which is not true.
Tim, may I share a bit about that?
Oh yeah, Neil, go ahead. Yes, for sure. So
the stories that I've compiled together about this whole Saturn connection, and you're right. So actually on December 24th, every year for the last 4 years, I do an annual Pagan Origins of Christmas and New Year's Eve webinar. It's a 2-hour event on my YouTube. And every year I add to it. And there's a whole 40 minutes just on Saturn and Santa connection and all this stuff. Because it goes deep. I mean, like even Saturn, Satan, and Santa. What does Santa do overnight on the 24th? He stops time and he actually goes and delivers presents to all the kids. Saturn is actually Kronos, which is the Lord of Time. There's a connection there too, because basically the Saturn moon matrix, the Saturn and the moon connected together, has this grid that I'm speculating is a solar systematic wide grid, but it might just be the Earth consciousness that emanates a frequency that keeps us within a certain vibration. Saturn, I'm leaning towards it not being a organically created planet, but more of a technology. And if you look at the hexagon on one of the poles of Saturn, right in the middle of it's a black hole. There's a perfect hexagon, right? The number 6 also connected to Satan. And then the black hole in the middle, it looks like, and you can just type in search Saturn hexagon and just look at all the images of it and be like, how in the universe did this even happen? There seems to be some sort of singularity within Saturn that's pulling out a frequency that's being emanated. There are also stories of ancient ET stories of Saturn being used as a communications technology to amplify signals from our solar system to other galaxies, and that the rings of Saturn was actually created by an extraterrestrial race in order to do that. So it's been used for many, many different, things. And then one other element would be Elohim. Elohim, right? El was the god of the Phoenician Canaanites before the promise. This is the Israeli-Palestinian war when it first began, right? This is like, so El was the god of the Phoenician Canaanites. When the Jews left Egypt, they didn't worship a single god. They had multiple gods. They were a polytheistic religion. They were worshiping Egyptian gods. When they were going through the desert, it took them 40 years to travel from Egypt to the Sinai to the Promised Land. I mean, even if you started walking today, it would not take you more than a few months. Why did it take 40 years? All these people were dropping dead in the desert because of the heat. So they started worshiping Ra-Amen, the sun god. When they were in Egypt, they were worshiping Isis because Isis was the benefactor to the slaves, the indentured servants. When they got to the Promised Land, they invaded and took over the Phoenicians, the Palestinians, and they took over their deity, El. El was the god of Saturn, okay? So we have Isis, Ra-Amen, Elohim, Israel, Isis, Ra, El, Elohim, Israel. So the three gods created the one god. And what happened in 700 BC, this is, Paul Wallace does research on this, this is actually out there, you don't have to look too far for this, is that there was a monotheistic swipe all over the planet. All of a sudden, there was a new doctrine. And it's so interesting because 700 BCE was the shift into the Kali Yuga and the Yuga cycle, the same years that this happened. So it went monotheistic. but they were never monotheistic. They were pagan religions because God said, you can choose, you will worship no other God but me. Commandment number 1, right? Worship no other God but me. It doesn't mean don't worship idols. It means don't worship those other gods. And Saturn then fooled us. Saturn decided to be the god of everything. And Saturn started pretending it was the sun god, which is the god that we were worshiping, when it was really Saturn. So that's like kind of the story of it. And now to say if it's negative or positive, I don't feel anything negative is actually happening against us, it's happening for us. So the Saturn moon matrix is a symbolization of the shadow work and the dark night of the soul that we need to go on through this earth, which is literally why they say you're on your Saturn's return. We had this conversation yesterday too. Saturn's return is that reflected part of life. So it's kind of permeated throughout, you know, all of scriptures and history.
Goodness, this is so interesting. It's really interesting. Something that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about Saturn is that each and every space agency on this planet, may it be the NASA, the Space Force, the Germans, the Russians, even the Chinese, they all have the same symbol. Even Star Trek has it, right? It's always this arrow. And this is said to be part or connected to the Saturn civilization, life form, or whatever that is. They seem to have a council which dictates a lot of the decisions how these organizations work in our solar system. So that is super interesting. Do you know something about that, the council of Saturn, Neil?
Yeah, so basically now the story goes back when you talk about the ETs and the Elohim. So the Elohim is something I've, you know, when I first woke up into this information, like 2001, 2002, Elohim was one of the first things I heard. And over 22 years of being in this, I have heard so many people call different things Elohim. It's almost like a loose term to encompass many different beings. The Elohim, I feel, was a group of extraterrestrial races that were a council of races that used to convene and, you know, create life. But what happened when the god of Saturn, El, became the god of everything, all the other stories of all the other gods were all associated with El. So that's why a lot of people call, oh, I'm connected to Elohim. The Elohim were here during this time. And then Lisa Royale, who's somebody I follow quite a lot, she says the Elohim were literally the first non-personified energy field in the black hole in the center of our galaxy. Before that, there was only serpentine, reptilian, dragon races in our galaxy, and some insectoids. And when every single part of creation becomes sentient, the original spark of source activates in all of us. And what was the original spark of source? What could I be if I wasn't this? What is there besides me? Can I experience the opposite of me? I want to create in my image. That's like source's original intent. So when this energy, the Elohim energy, became conscious of itself in the black hole in the center of the galaxy, it decided to create a template for it to incarnate into physicality. And then they came into the constellation of Lyra and created the first human template, which were the feline human beings. So that was the first original story of the Elohim, which only literally means the creator gods. And since then, these creator gods have supposedly gone around our solar system, creating life in all the major constellations that we speak about within this community, Arcturus, Pleiades, Sirius. They went there and they created life. And as they were doing this, they violated a few rules. One of which is, because they were great geneticists, one rule was not to interfere with the DNA of other species without their permission. So they began experimenting with DNA from other beings, namely reptilian beings. And this was the stemming and the beginning of the DNA wars, where there was basically a war over genetics and violation of free will and things like that. So that's kind of some of the stories that I've been piecing together.
That's so fascinating. That resonates with a lot of the stuff that Being Six said, and I can put it into a different perspective now. That makes a lot of sense. Neil, you're you have.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, when people remember like the creation, basically the creation, they remember that these beings were doing it out of a feeling of loss, that either they were coming from a different universe or galaxy or whatever altogether, but they felt a deep sadness when they created this whole experiment. Have you ever heard anything like that?
have I heard that there was when they created this experiment on Earth.
Yeah.
So this is a story that I have heard. Maybe it relates to this a bit because there's been many seedings on Earth. Earth has been an experimental planet many, many times. So it's like, when was the original, right? And so one of the original stories that I've heard is the Lyran Syrian Pleiadian story, which was the original seeding supposedly. And the Pleiadians were on this planet. Actually, if you read Barbara Messiniak's Bringers of the Dawn, which is like the gold standard for the Pleiadian information, it says in there the Pleiadians were called the original Earthlings, right? So not too many people probably even wonder what that means. And it's the Pleiadians that we connect to in the Pleiades lived on Earth first. They moved to the Pleiades. There was a migration from the Lyrans and the Syrians here on Earth. The Pleiadians went to avoid them. The Lyrans wanted to create a fifth dimensional Earth only, just a fifth dimensional existence to live in. The Syrians were angry at the Lyrans. They were violating free will by dictating the frequency of the planet without allowing the beings on the planet to choose. So that created a kind of a clash between the two of them, where the original intent of the Lyrans, which are our gods in our Bible, actually was not seen. They did not get to create the heaven on earth, the Garden of Eden. And then the Syrians basically gave us the choice of free will. But as we had that choice, we forgot that we made that choice, right? And then when we fell from grace and we forgot we made the choice, we started blaming who the heck would have put us in this position and given us that choice. We would never have chose this for ourselves, right? And so now with amnesia, we have a deep sorrow within ourselves. And with those beings, the Syrians might have got what they wanted or what they thought, but the original source, God, that wanted to do this, the Lyrans, the higher dimensional ones, they never got to live out what they chose. And the reason why they wanted to choose a fifth dimensional incarnation was they wanted to create a being and incarnate their own souls into it to have a simultaneous existence or harmony on Earth while living out their lives as Lyrans. They wanted to live both at the same time. But even though it was their own souls fragmented into our bodies, we were still separate entities in the grand scheme of source. So we still, even though we're still them, our separate consciousness had the choice to make, which was to choose free will. So that's the story I've heard.
I love it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What do we take away from that? How does that change our everyday life, and what can we learn from it? How can we move on?
You're asking me this, Tim?
Oh yeah, Neil.
So the really interesting thing for me was when I realized that this story was the Bible story, the Lyran Pleiadian Syrian one. Basically the Syrians, even the symbol was the serpent, and they were the serpent that told Adam and Eve, you can eat from the tree of knowledge and get complete awareness, right? And not awareness, you can be aware of yourself, you can become sentient and have your own choices. And so what we can take from this story, there's many stories we've shared here, but when we come to this one, we can see kind of what we shared in the podcast yesterday. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing, okay? The Lyrans and God thought that they were doing the right thing by creating a beautiful, harmonious experience after eons of wars within the galaxy. The Syrians said, no, we're doing the right thing because you're violating free will. The Syrian energy, that story, ended up reflecting multiple times in many experiences, including the Anunnaki story, in which we demonized the experience of us to choose this free will. So at one level, we can realize that both sides are working for the betterment of what they think what they want to bring into existence. And then we could also say that this will lead us to an opportunity not to judge the other and understand the bigger picture of why we're here on this planet, that we had choice to be here. And I feel like, somebody asked me once, if there's one thing you can change in the world, what would it be? And it would be to heal amnesia. Because I feel that permeates through everything. So this is a story of how we forgot, and then we judge the fact that we forgot. And so if we can realize that we're moving to a place now where we're healing our consciousness and we have full remembrance of our past lives, extraterrestrial lives, our connection to source, right? All of those expanded perspectives, expanded awareness will lead us to a more harmonious existence on this planet. So even though we can change all these nitty-gritty things here and there, ultimately, like one of my presentation shows, it's inevitable. We're on this upturning consciousness. our solar system are in specific positions within our galaxy, the frequencies and the galactic weather is bombarding our planet in a way to usher in awakening, right? So no matter how much we resist, we're going to get to that point. But if we go kicking or screaming, that's really up to us. So that's why it's all about shifting our perspective and expanding our awareness to just be open to the healing of this amnesia that we've had.
I feel like that's a super great keyword to switch to the meditation part of this show, because you were mentioning shifting, and I absolutely agree. And I bet everyone, and thanks, by the way, for everyone in the chat being very involved. If you have questions, please drop them there, because we have an opportunity to talk to each one of us in a bit. I bet Greg has some questions too, I hope. But I think we should start the meditation right now, and then we return back with some fascinating, interesting insights on this universe that we're living in. Because I have some questions. I'm interested. So, everyone at home, I hope you are ready for a meditation. As always, oh, by the way, Neil is going to be part of this. I'm going to start. Neil, if you would like to take it from there, 5-10 minutes, just give us some beautiful insights and content, and then we have Sarah Kederich, and Sarah wraps it all up beautifully. So everyone at home, thank you for joining this live, and get into a nice relaxed position so we can put all our energies together and meditate together.
Beautiful. So just the flow of this, Sarah, I'll probably go for a couple minutes, and then I'll just let you know in the chat and you can take over. And what I want to offer for this one is, for the beginning here, is more than just the insights, just the feeling of our own presence in our own body. So I'm going to lead us through a few breaths. We're going to have a moment where we hum, and it's not going to be, you'll be audible, but we probably won't be able to hear each other. And we're going to hum and vibrate our heart chakra, our chest, because the humming effect is a real scientific thing that occurs where all types of hormones are released in our body, releasing traumas and activating parts of our dormant body. So we're going to do that. And we're also going to sit and feel in stillness and silence, energy and life force running through our body, our blood pumping, air coming out of lungs. We're just going to create a deep presence with the self. And then after that, we'll take some breaths and expand our auric field into the cosmos. And then Sarah will take it away from there. So let's just begin by getting comfortable here. Lay down, sit up straight, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then just start breathing normally. And this process over the next few minutes is to sit with everything that comes up. Joy, bliss, discomfort, anger, any emotion, any feeling. This is almost like a test to see how comfortable we are just to sit with ourselves. To get to a point to just observe all the feelings and to create a connection with our own bodies, which are beautiful avatars, beautiful vehicles, to ground everything we're going to experience into our body. So continue breathing normally. And on your next breath, take a deep inhale. We're going to do this 3 times. Deep inhale. Breathe out of your heart. Deep, deep inhale. Let it out, let it go. Another deep inhale. Now let this out with an audible sigh. Continue breathing normally. Just spend the next few seconds just with your own breath. Breathe a little deeper as I do an invocation. We call on the energy of the divine, of source power, benevolent creation, the universe, the harmony of all existence, the antiquity and the story of all of humanity, the galaxies that we traverse, the incarnations that we've had. We call on the power of the grand scheme of the multiverse and all the energy that creates all that is and has been and will continue to create. Call in the dragon beings, the ancient guardians of our solar system and humankind, the beings that we're connected through ancestry, our descendants, our ancestors. We send reverence out into the universe, a signal from Earth that humanity is ready for the next stage in our evolution, that we are ready to take the baton and become the awakened beings and traverse the solar system and the galaxy and visit our family and be a part of the galactic community. We give gratitude for all these beings that have been here supporting us, our guides, our angels, the dragon realms, the stewarding of the birthing process, the wormhole in which we are incarnated into this galaxy. We pay reverence, give gratitude. We breathe it in through your nostrils, and breathe out through your heart. Now, everybody, I want you to begin to breathe deeper. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Focus on the breath only. Feel the oxygen go in and out of your lungs. If you're breathing in through your nostrils, feel the air touching your upper lip and your lip on the way out. Feel the subtle sensations of the air around you touching your skin. Do you feel it on your cheek, on your forehead? Are your palms sweaty? They're dry? Feel what it means to be you. Feel what it means to be human. As we breathe deeper, let's enter the inside of our body. Can you feel your lungs expand, contract? The blood pumping in your veins. Your heart pumping. Stay with that just for a few seconds in silence and feel the sensations in and on your body. Can we accept our bodies with everything, discomfort, comforts, as it is, without creating an aversion or a craving? Let's not avoid discomfort, and let's not move towards the bliss. Observing both polarities, being curious about the sensations, being curious about your back maybe being sore, your knee, your leg, your neck. Being curious about the fact that you have no pains or no discomforts right now. Creating a sense of stillness within you. Continue to feel what it means to be human. Too often we're waiting for another experience that takes us away from the struggles, that takes us away from the pain of what it means to be in this body now, emotionally and physically. Only through the shadow, only through the darkness, only going through the discomfort will we be able to go into the light. At the end of the tunnel, there's always the light, but in the tunnel, you need to walk through and crawl through the darkness. Sitting with ourselves like this, we allow all of that to come to the surface. Whether it's the joy or the struggle, we allow all of it to come. Now, as you continue to feel these sensations, the next 4 or 5 breaths that I'm going to lead us in. The first breath will encompass your country that you live within. The second breath will encompass the entire planet. The third, the solar system. The fourth, the galaxy. And then the fifth, the universe. We are going to exhale out of our heart and expand our auric field through our heart around each of what I mentioned, until we get to the point that the entire universe resides in our heart. It is quite literal on the quantum world that the universe resides inside our heart. And we will create that with intention. On your next exhale, take your first deep breath in. Deep breath. And exhale out of your heart, encompassing and imagining it encompassing your whole country in which you reside. All beings are within this frequency. Deep breath in. And exhale out around the whole of Earth. Encompassing all beings, all creatures on planet Earth inside of your heart. And deep breath in. Exhale outside of the whole galaxy. The whole solar system. Your heart, your auric field has now encompassed the whole entire solar system. All beings, all planets, our sun, Saturn, the moons, Jupiter, Pluto, asteroid belt, all of it resides inside of your heart. Deep inhale. Expand it out, the speed of light, quantum reality into the galaxy. And now sit with this. We've just taken on a lot of energy. All beings in the galaxy, all polarities, all dimensions, all incarnations exist within our heart. The shadow work to the blissful experience, the harmony to the disharmony, the duality, the singularity, it all exists within us. When the singularity burst into duality, the singularity did not judge one part of itself over the other. It did not love one half of itself over the other. The singularity, the oneness, the Godhead, loves both sides of itself equally. And both sides of those reside within us. And the entire galaxy is an incredible example of all that dualistic experience. Now we're going to take a deep inhale out into the universe. Deep inhale. Expand outside all of the universe inside your heart now. All the universe inside of your heart now. All of the universe inside of your heart now. All of this universe inside of your heart now. Imagine this beautiful globe floating inside your heart. From the moment the infinite singularity burst into countless possibilities, before time even existed, before space-time was even a thought, before the primordial oceans split, before the word God was sound, before the vibration, before the first vibration, all of it is within us. Now to close out this part of meditation, we're going to do 3 hums. We're going to take inhales in a moment here. And with the whole universe inside of our heart, we're going to hum and vibrate our chest plate, vibrate our heart chakras, and vibrate the whole universe with the harmony of our heart and allow that to permeate through the quantum world, through the infinite knowledge of all that is in one moment, to all of creation within this universe. You're going to come with your mouth closed. You're going to vibrate your nostrils in the back of your neck. And you'll feel it in your heart. So after your next exhale, take a deep inhale for 1 of 3 hums. Exhale, hum. Inhale. Vibrate the whole universe with the frequency of the heart. On the next inhale, put your hand over your heart. Put your hands over your heart. And vibrate the universe with the frequency of your heart. As we've tapped into universal consciousness, we've also tapped into a dimension, a data set of information and awareness. That is the true love that permeates all of creation. Not the conditional love of the lower realms, but the unconditional love of the understanding of both polarities, the acceptance and the roles which both polarities play. And we keep that in our heart as we continue this meditation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Neil.
It's
So
incredible.
everyone at home, just love to emphasize what Neil said and go into the signal that we've sent into this universe, and let's make it a bit more strong, a little stronger, a little more, let's emphasize it. So every one of us here, we are all representation of this duality. So we are all connected within the universe, the oneness, but we are all expressions, individual, unique expressions of that. So connect yourself with this beautiful group of people, connect yourself with these speakers, connect yourself with these beings within you, within your timeline, in your soul family, everywhere. Each one of us is connected with multiple beings, multiple worlds, multiple civilizations. So use this opportunity, use this moment as a moment of communication, as a moment in order to send a strong signal, just as we did on Neil's part. Let's make it a bit even more, even stronger, and send it out into the universe together. So connect yourself to all these beings, all these civilizations, and become aware that there are multiple timelines, multiple beings, multiple soul families connected to you. And become aware that while we're all on this planet Earth right now, we are strong representations, beautiful representations of this principle of duality. And we all want to get along. We all want to thrive. We all want to communicate openly. So make this moment an open invitation for all that you are, for all that you are connected. And however you feel you want to communicate this, speak it into existence. Let your heart speak. Use whatever communication channel you are used to. I don't want to say that. I don't want to determine that for you. Whatever is right for you, communicate that and connect yourself to these beings, these planets, these worlds, these versions of oneness. Send all these beings a strong impulse and signal that we are open for communication, that we are here and we want to build harmoniously. And we want to see their perspectives. We want to integrate our own perspectives into the wild, wide field of the universe and become whatever we see as our perfect home. So that each one, each being, each I awareness becomes part of a universal home that we all fill up. So take this moment, make this an open invitation, send out your invite, your invitation for communication at this very moment. And you yourself become aware that you, as you are in this duality and on this planet right now, you are a representation for other civilizations, for other beings, for other worlds, for other timelines. And so we all learn together to build this universe together harmoniously, to thrive, to grow, to learn, to have fun with each other and together, and to create the most beautiful universe, so that at one point in this universe, whenever we feel ready for that, we see the complete picture of all beings being at the spot where they feel the most at home ever. And while you make this an open invitation, I forward this meditation to Sarah Bressman.
Yeah. So let's just keep going deeper into ourselves, just through our breath, breathing in deeply and fully. And as you exhale, just sink even deeper into yourself. Imagine you can breathe in all the beautiful energy around you. And just exhale anything, any tension, anything that no longer serves you. Let everything go and sink even deeper into yourself. And imagine or visualize yourself walking into a beautiful garden. And this garden is the very safe haven for you. As you look around at all the colors of the flowers and the plants, the colors can radiate a healing quality to them. And as you take in a deep breath, feel your body responding to these beautiful healing fragrances. And as you look around, perhaps you can see beautifully colored birds and butterflies. It's so beautiful and healing in this beautiful, sacred, peaceful, healing garden. And just pick a spot in this beautiful garden and imagine or visualize a beautiful light above your head. You can choose the colors, and feel this beautiful, loving, healing light enter through the top of your head, illuminating your brain and spinal cord and healing these organs. As this beautiful, powerful, loving light flows down through your body, it's like a beautiful wave of love and healing. Let this light be very strong as it flows down through your body, cleansing your body and sending love throughout your whole body. Feel your body responding to this beautiful, powerful, loving and healing light. And feel this powerful light enter into your heart, healing your heart at all levels, Feel your heart responding and feel your heart gently pumping this beautiful, loving, healing light. As it pumps this light and touches every cell, every tissue, every fiber of your being and floods it with love and healing. And feel the light surround the outside of your body, wrapping you in a beautiful cocoon of loving support, healing your skin, and just sending love through your whole body. Now imagine or visualize that you can talk directly to this light and just put one hand over your heart and one over your belly. What is your purpose in this life? What are you here on this planet to do? What do you promise yourself? Just allow the messages for you to come up into your heart. Who are you really? Is there anything that you need to do to fulfill your mission here? Now feel the love and the light just flowing through your body, sending love and appreciation for your role at this time. Feel how appreciated and how powerful and how important you are. And imagine or visualize in front of you as a mirror. And in the reflection in this mirror is the very highest version of you on the highest timeline possible. As you look at your reflection in this mirror, just notice what makes this reflection of you the highest reflection on the highest timeline, your ideal self. What kind of qualities does your ideal self possess? Just look into your eyes, into this reflection, the healed version of yourself, the optimal version of yourself. What qualities does this version of you possess? What knowledge does this version of you have? What kind of practices daily does this highest version of you do? Now, when you are ready, just step into the reflection and become one with your ideal self, the very healed version of yourself on the highest timeline that you can imagine for yourself. And imagine or visualize, because this is such a powerful portal date, exactly what you wish to fully integrate into your life now. And now there's nothing that could take this away from you. You are now in alignment with the very highest, the healed and ideal version of yourself. And from this ideal version of yourself in full alignment, send your intentions towards yourself and then back into the universe. What are your intentions for this universe? What are your intentions for this planet? What are your intentions for all souls? And just flood from your heart to the universe. Just flood everything with love and feel that love come back into your heart and feel your body responding to this powerful love and full alignment. Now,
Thank you for that. We have so much wonderful energy, so much light going on here. I almost feel guilty having to do the shadow work right now, but it's so important that we do. I want you to be aware that you are this higher level being, that you are this spiritual entity in this world, and you are a physical 3D being. You are in a co-creative experience with your highest being and your day-to-day self that exists in this world. And they have to work together. But sometimes there are blocks. Sometimes there are moments where you forget that you're this higher level being. Sometimes you get bogged down in the day-to-day stuff or the negative trappings of our day-to-day world. And so I want to give you a tool, a very counterintuitive tool, one that initially doesn't make sense, to help you tap into your highest potential, to recognize that you are a high-level being. And as shadow work, sometimes the shadows are actually hidden. So I'm going to help you find where the shadows on this really are. And like I said, you are a 3D being, which means as long as we're existing in this 3D world, we have to adhere to the rules, the laws of our 3D existence, which means that in your body is a primeval programming that kept your Paleolithic ancestors alive. A programming that is somewhat aggressive, somewhat harsh, and that's okay. How do you know that you have this? Well, I wonder if you can remember a time when somebody was annoying you, bothering you, irritating you, or upsetting you. And in your mind, your imagination, came a flash of you yelling at them or behaving very aggressively towards them. Now, initially, you might think that's the shadow. You might say, I'm supposed to be a spiritual being. I'm supposed to be a higher level being. How can I have these aggressive thoughts to another person? I must not be. Believe it or not, that's the shadow, not the actual aggressive thought, the actual aggressive imagination. The shadow is you thinking that you're not a spiritual being. Because I want you to take another look at that moment. What happened right after you had those aggressive, harsh thoughts about that person? Didn't you find guilt, regrets? Didn't you find a part of you that was shocked, going, oh, I would never do that. I would never be that way. That would not be me. That's not me at all. Well, I need you to know something. That primeval programming was protecting you, was trying to reach out to say, hey, if we have to act aggressively, this is how. But then your higher self kicked in and said, no, 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 no. We don't need to act that way. We don't need to behave that way, because I really do want the best for you. I really do want the best for this other person. And that's where the guilt comes in. That's where the shock, that's where the regret comes in. Because you are this higher level being. You are this powerful, compassionate person in the physical world. So sometimes we still have to recognize the laws of the physical world. We still have to recognize there is this programming within the body, within the brain. But your reaction to that guilt, that regret, is your pathway to tap into your sacredness. So now think about that. Think about that moment when you had that guilt, where you had that regret, you had that shock of, no, I'm not going to do that. What is it that's underlying those feelings? Tap into that compassionate part of you, that part of you that wants the best for yourself. And get this, that's the part of you that wants the best for even those people who have upset you, those people who have hurt you, those people who maybe did not have your best intentions in mind, but you did. And that guilt and that shock and that regret is proof that you had the best of intentions for even those people that did not wish you the best of all intentions. And that's proof you are a higher level being existing in a physical body. So tap into that feeling that you are this compassionate, caring person, that you are this type of being that wants even the best of things for people who might mean ill for you. Breathe into that feeling. Tap deep into that feeling. Breathe it stronger, twice as strong, 5 times as strong. Let that energy permeate every cell in your body, every fiber of your being. Let it become a guide for your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your behaviors, and all that you are becoming. And I want you to remember that anytime you might feel disconnected from your highest self, from your highest being, or any of those moments where you may have an aggressive thought or an anger thought, follow up with that feeling of the guilt, the regret, and turn that double negative into a positive to remind yourself that the only reason why you're feeling those shocked feelings is because you are a compassionate, high-level being that wants the best for everybody, no matter what. And with that, I pass on to Sarah. Thank you.
So beautiful. Okay, everyone, let's allow us to close this off by going a bit deeper and spreading this beautiful energy out. So if your eyes are open, you can go ahead and gently close them once again. And feel how quickly you're able to drop deeper and deeper into yourself. As you breathe and soften and relax even more. Open body, open mind, open heart. And take a moment and feel how good it feels to feel still in this moment. Allowing yourself to feel really satisfied with your efforts here tonight. And feel your body feeling more and more relaxed with each exhale. As you breathe and soften and relax even more. Begin to direct your breath and your awareness to the center of your heart. Allowing your awareness to take a seat in the safe space of the center of your heart. And with your awareness in the center of your heart, begin to become aware of this entire community meditating here together tonight. Become aware of how beautiful it is that this entire community has chosen to give their time to be here tonight, to learn, to grow, to connect, and to spread light and love for the greatest good of all. Become aware of the like-hearted souls that are here tonight. And as you do, become aware of the grid that begins to activate on this planet. As all of these beautiful souls become aware that they're meditating together. Notice that our connection to one another is spreading across the entire planet as we meditate here together. Connecting to our hearts together. And how beautiful it is as our energies connect and intensify one another's intentions now. keeping this grid of beautiful energy connected to one another. Begin to recall a memory of when you felt so full of unconditional love, of the type of love full of so much compassion and joy and acceptance. Maybe it was when you expanded your heart to include the entire universe. Maybe that was a moment you remember feeling unconditional love. Maybe it's when you were playing with an animal, interacting with a child, healing a younger version of you. Enhance the feelings that get activated as you recall a moment that you felt full of so much love, compassion, and joy, and turn up the dial on that. Feel those feelings activating every cell of your body with these beautiful energies of love, of joy, of compassion. Feel your body activating in those energies. And begin to send out these beautiful energies of love and compassion and joy into the entire grid we have created together here. Feel the energies of love and compassion and joy activating that grid around the planet. And begin sending that energy to the entire planet herself. Spreading this energy to the spaces on the planet that it's needed the most. Spreading this beautiful love, beautiful compassion, beautiful joy that is amplified and activated by all of our connections here. Spreading it on this planet to those who need it the most. Focus in on it. Stay with it. And as we spread this energy together with those who need it the most, begin to welcome in your friendly galactic family to support us in spreading this energy with the planet. You can invite in your team in spirit of the highest frequencies of love, your friendly, loving galactic family, and ask for their support to infuse this grid we've created and spread it onto the planet in the spaces that need it the most, creating harmony, creating love, creating compassion, making it easier for beings to choose acceptance, to choose love, to choose compassion. And now begin to bring your awareness back to the center of the center of the center of your heart. Allowing yourself to keep the connection with the grid to whatever degree you choose, knowing it's there if you choose to tap into it and contribute to it. Yet feel your awareness coming back to your heart. Bringing your awareness in. Coming back to the center of you. And as you breathe into the center of your heart, feeling yourself coming home to you, feel yourself grounding your awareness into the you that you are now. Grounding the beautiful energies of what you've experienced tonight into the you that you are now. Feeling grounded, feeling light, feeling free. Feeling like it's easier for you to tap in and remember. Feeling grounded in the you that you are now, keeping your eyes closed Become aware of the room that you're in, grounding your awareness and grounding your energy in the room that you're in, and feeling how good it feels to breathe as your awareness completely comes back gently to the being that you are now. And you can keep your eyes closed, feeling satisfied with your efforts, as I pass it back to Tim for a charged up all shift happily now incantation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you're all ready. I hope you have your all shift happily now on the chat ready. Let's say it all together and bring our highest intentions into this world, make it vibrate, and make it a manifest. So in 3, 2, 1. All shift happily now. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I missed you all so much. Christiana and Jen left a comment for you, Kedrich, so you don't feel bad that you guided us so beautiful through shadow work. She's saying she was crying. She always feels like you're talking directly to her, and she resonates with that very much. And everyone is very, very thankful for that. So
thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I know shadow work can sometimes be difficult, but it's so good when we can look into those darker places and find the light that we have hiding there. It's such good stuff to do.
It is so important, and I really resonate with all of you very much, and I'm happy that we do this together because every one of us has such an important role here. And Neil, your part was amazing too. Thank you so much for that. Everyone, before we go and ask Neil some more questions and also dive into some of the projects that Sarah, and Kedrich have, as you can see by the introduction in the beginning of our show, we always have some golden ticket winners, and that is like an entertaining part of this live. So we want to connect with you and want to have you first row with what we're doing. And also we are going to have fabulous guests over time. And maybe it's your chance to ask a question to some of these wonderful spiritual teachers. So we have a little entertaining moment here. I do have a little game because we want to have another golden ticket winner. So it's your chance to shine now. I am going to show you a picture. And once this meditation and this life is over, not this life is over, but this live event is over, go into the YouTube comments and drop a comment. So the picture is actually, it's a Photoshop picture. There's a couple, they are holding something. I am going to show that to you in a second. I hope everyone is going to see this beautiful couple. CGI couple, wonderful. And there's something blurred out. So put your mind on it, have some beautiful guesses. It's something unexpected. So I deleted whatever was there and we put something else in their arms. Just leave a comment under this YouTube, the YouTube live, and have a guess what it is. And the first person that drops a comment and gets it either right or comes close to it will get another golden ticket. So we see you, her, he, whatever, him on the next live event. So that is about it. Hopes everyone has seen the picture. And now we go back. Sarah is smiling. She already knows what they're holding. Both of you, actually, right? Don't tell it. Don't tell it. Hey, Neil, do you want to have a guess? Oh, better not. Maybe you just maybe you have it right in the first time, and then we have a problem because everyone else hasn't got a chance. I want to ask something because yesterday we were talking on that on your Portal to Ascension podcast, Neil. You said something about the veil and Avalon, right? And that was surprising because I know how Sarah looks. I wanted to know if you guys talked about that before and if one of you is the source for that, because Sarah was talking to me about this a few days before that. She looked surprised. So can you unmute yourself?
No, I never spoke to Sarah about it, but Sarah's going to be at my conference. She's going to be with us in Glastonbury next year. I don't know if you remember saying yes, Sarah.
Yeah, that's true. The interesting thing is Sarah told me
I'm
about
excited
Avalon.
about it.
Go ahead.
But I'm working on this right now. That's why my jaw just dropped. I mean, I've been hearing so much about this, and I'm working on a book about it. I'm almost done my 4th book, but I mean, there's a lot about the veil, Avalon, and as we, raise in our frequency. I mean, it's really interesting because there's myths surrounding Avalon, according to my clients. And what I was talking to Tim about, it was interesting because when people go into different dimensions, there's dimensional bleed through, and it looks like mists. So it's so similar. And people are starting to talk about like people are able to see through to Avalon sometimes right now. Anyway, I don't know what you guys were talking about, but I'm just surprised that you're bringing it up.
I was surprised. Neil, tell everyone, because yesterday you brought it up on your podcast, and I was like, wait, did he talk to Sarah? Or is that like two independent source of information?
Well,
Very interesting.
That's how things work, like I did a conference in the Pleiades, a Pleiadian conference a year ago, right? And it was 2 days, 11 hours a day, just Pleiadian speakers. And then I find out that the next day is an alignment with the central star of the Pleiades, the day after the conference. You know what I'm saying? And like I invited Sarah to Glastonbury without any awareness that she was working on anything or doing anything like that. And it's just perfect alignment, So it's just a good confirmation that people are called into our lives at the right moments, and there's all these connections. Now, for me, Glastonbury, the way Glastonbury and us doing the event there worked was when I first got the download. I stopped in 2002, my story, but when I first got the download for Portal to Ascension in 2008, it came in a dream, and it was a 20-year package from 2008 to 2028, all the things that I was going to do, and part of it was that I was going to end a karmic cycle of the traumas that happened to me, not only in this life, being born and raised in London, but also from my other incarnations in England. So it was a goal for me to get to the point where we were big enough to go back to the country where I was born and do an event there, and a grid working event. At first, I wanted to do it in London because I was under the awareness that if you're going to have people a sold out event, you need to be in the biggest city in the world, And then London was just too compartmentalized and chaotic. So I decided to do it in Glastonbury. And it was because I have such a huge connection to Celtics and Druids. I'm creating a course right now on Celtic history, a 6-hour course, because a lot of people don't realize that the Celts and the Druids, which was the priestly caste, was actually all the way from Anatolia, which is modern day Turkey, all the way through Europe into England. And when Rome came in, the Rome started kicking them out towards England, and many of these tribes in modern day France escaped to England to escape the Romans. As that was happening, the Germanic tribes came in and also started attacking the Druids. So they continued to move further and further away until finally they were left in Cornwall, Tintagel, which is where King Arthur's castle is, and the story of the Lady of the Lake, and Glastonbury, right? So those are the 3 places. There was a huge Christianization of the whole area, but the one place left in the Christian world after 350 AD was Glastonbury. They pretended they were Christian, but continued the Druidic rituals with stone circles and all types of practices, staying true to the old order. So it's really interesting because Glastonbury not only has true mystic Christianity, the ancient ones, it was also the people from Glastonbury weren't forced to convert. They willingly chose to convert because of their connection to Gnostic Christianity and the first church in England. So it's like a whole kind of other world that kind of evolved separately from the Catholic Church and being enforced and all that. and they combined the druidic awareness and the spiritual mysticism with Christianity. So that's just the 3D stuff of how beautiful that whole area is. Now Avalon, and you probably already know this, Sarah, was supposedly an island in which people would go through a mist in order to get there. Now, when King Arthur was wounded on a battlefield, they took him to Avalon, and that was supposedly the portal to another dimension. There's information out now from some researchers and channelers that when Atlantis fell, this is the connection to Atlantis and Avalon, there was 2 migrations. There was the human migration, which was into North Africa, Morocco, Egypt, other places in North Africa, and there was the elemental beings migration that went into Cornwall and Avalon. So all the stories that we have, the stories of the fairies, the gnomes, pixies, they were used throughout a lot of Europe, but those actual terms, those ones that I just mentioned, literally stemmed from the forests of Avalon and Glastonbury there. So it's just such beauty and so many different things overlapping, just to wrap it up here, the ley lines that are crossing in that area as well, the powerful water that is coming through there. So just being in that energy and that presence is almost like being in an ancient land where you have everything amplified for you. And what we get the opportunity to do at these conferences is like Glastonbury is not a conference. That's the disguise that we're giving it. Okay. It truly is a grid working event because it's the hot truck center of the world. Like during COVID, I've heard all types of stories from people there where people will come and do like negative agenda things to the ley lines. As many people that were coming doing positive, there was all these people doing like really distorted rituals on the ley lines as well, because it's the perfect place to send out that frequency around the whole planet. So what we're doing with Portal to Ascension Conference is we're creating an event, a conference, but it's truly a journey. We start with a cacao ceremony. It's basically like a shamanic journey in the Amazon, but instead you're sitting in a seat listening to people. And we are amplifying our own energetic field, putting it into the grid lines, the ley lines there, sending it out to the whole planet.
Wow. So interesting too, because people are starting to remember that they have these genetic clues, like one little clue if you're reincarnated from the Fae or from the fairy realm or even the druids is a lot of times, not all the time, but you have anemia. And it's almost like you're in your soul DNA to be almost like you cannot stand iron. So your body can't stand the iron at all. And even in the ancient druidic times and even in Avalon, they had a very strong connection to honey. And that's why honey is such a great remedy for this, for anemia. And if sometimes, not all the time, if you have the A blood type in your ancestral DNA, if you go to Glastonbury or those places and you touch some of the megalithic structures, it activates some of your dormant DNA. And so I agree with you, Neil. I don't think this is just a conference whatsoever. I think this is a remembering and a gathering, and it's definitely going to affect the consciousness when people do something like this as a collective. But I also wanted to say that there's a really important event coming up next week. It's Portal to Ascension, about the history of our origins. And that's happening next week, Monday through Wednesday. Don't miss this. There's a whole bunch of different speakers. Plus, I'll be speaking too. But I'm going to be talking about and sharing little clips of people's actual memories, because I feel like I'm a memory researcher with people under hypnosis. So I'm going to share what people remember about leaving Mars, about the Pleiades, people's life on the Pleiades, and then different memories of Atlantis, Lemuria. And I also want to share what the most recent things that I've been hearing coming through sessions are, to tie it all in together. But that will be, I'm speaking on Wednesday. Don't miss it.
Where is it going to be? Online
it's
or?
Online, yeah.
It's at your house and back there. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, online. So it'll be easy to catch. Just go to Portal to Ascension, and it's on their website.
Yeah, portal to ascension. And also, if you are interested, fellow friends, for the Glastonbury event, it's ascensionglastonbury.com. I'm stoked about that because Neil was telling him some stuff yesterday, and I was like, wow, that's magical. And already people were in the community super excited about this event, saying that it's like on a special energetical line, and Stonehenge is not far away from there. And also for me, it's my very first conference ever. I've never been to a UFO conference or any other type of spiritual conference ever. So it's gonna be my very first time. I'm gonna see Neil for the very first time in person. I'm gonna see Sarah for the very first time in person. Maybe we do something before that, who knows? And I also hope that Kedrich and Sarah Zula are going to join us too. Who knows? That would be nice. Feels like, especially Kedrich, that's probably something in your realm, right? Awesome.
Definitely. I'm looking at the site right now. It's very, very interesting looking at what we've been talking about.
It was so fun. I mean, I've done a lot of events, but honestly, it was the most fun ever. And it's 6 days. We're doing 2 days of tours in the beginning, 3 days of a conference, 1 day of post-conference workshops, and then another day of stone circle tours in southwest London. We have buses, everything. And not only that, you're literally like 2 to 3 minute walking distance from King Arthur's Abbey with his tombstones. You're not even a 4-minute walk from the White Springs, which is one of the most epic underground water caves you've ever seen. Like, as soon as you walk into this thing, you feel you've been transported to a priestess place where they were doing priestess rituals thousands of years ago, and it just brings you a sense of serenity just being in that. So just being in that area and being able to step outside of the conference and experiencing everything there is truly magical. So we're gonna have a great time.
Wow. I'm stoked. I'm excited for that. I want to dive in all of that because I've never been there before, and I want to see that. And also some incredible people. Laura Eisenhower is going to be there against Sarah and me too. I am blessed and honored to have a workshop there. Sarah is going to present her book, I guess. Right, Sarah? Yes. And you can meet us, which is so cool. So there will be plenty of activities there. I'm happy to do this. And if you are interested, then just go to ascensionglastonbury.com and sign up for this. I want to give our golden ticket winners a quick chance to ask any questions. Guys, the stage is yours. If you have any, just drop them, and I hope Neil is going to answer them real quick.
Of course, I have a lot of questions, but I know we've had a long night already, and I just want to say that it's just an absolute honor to be here with you guys on the call. And Neil, you have blown my mind. Your depth of research is incredible, and I just so honored to be here and listen to what you have to say. And yeah.
Thank you, man. I'm a very curious person.
I feel the exact same way. I just want to say that the conversation you and Tim had yesterday was really, really good. I truly recommend that anyone checks it out and listens to that. I might tee up just one question since we have Kedrick here and he can kind of jump in on this. You were talking about the Orion Wars and how it mimicked the Thor story and the Rainbow Bridge, escaping persecution. Is there like a 1-minute answer to that?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, no, there is. But I could time myself. You got a timer.
Yeah.
So quick synopsis. I had a past life regression a year ago. I go to this portal world, and I'm in this portal room with all these ETs standing around me, and I'm wearing an Iron Man suit, right? I realized that the main industry on this planet is this portal room, and it's a beautiful city, and the rest of the planet is desolate. And I find out that I'm jumping into this portal, going through other incarnations of myself on Earth, visiting myself as an ethereal being to collect data in order to reconstruct a technology that was stolen taken to Earth. But the only way the portal rooms work is you can only visit other aspects of yourself in those realities. You can visit the planets, but only your own incarnations, right? And I started getting a disease that came from this portal room jumping room, which was basically you forget your identity, you have an identity crisis, you start being schizophrenic and all these things. So it started coming to me in there, right? So then the regression's over. I have another regression 6 months ago, and I go to the reptilian worlds. I see myself as 3 different reptilians. And then I see the dragon worlds and what the dragons are doing. And I ask the dragons, why am I seeing this? And then I go to the same portal planet, and I see the history of the reptilian invasion into this portal planet, right? So I'm a skeptic. So it's hard when things connect like this, then I start saying, oh shit, and then all of a sudden now I'm in an ayahuasca journey for around 7 months ago after this thing, right? And I go and visit the same planet I saw in those 2 regressions. But this time I am the guy in Thor with the rainbow light bridge. I'm the guy that's standing at the rainbow bridge in, you guys seen Thor. Yeah. I'm standing there, and I am basically the guardian to the wormhole of the portal room, right? So side note, because I'm huge into tangents, I've heard from many people that that Orion has the biggest portal room in the whole galaxy. And I didn't know this until after these 3 things, right? Other people like, oh yeah, Orion, yes, the biggest portal planet. So what I found out was, I know this is over a minute, sorry. What I found out was, long story short, invasion, a war in Orion, invasion onto this planet when prosecution was going to happen. They were going to be basically neutralized and held accountable for their crimes. They stole the Crater God technology on this planet. They went through the portal with the Crater God technology. I was one of the guardians of the portal. We had a huge war, battle on the planet, trying to stop them from going through. They won. They went through the planet, came to Earth. Earth is in a free will universe where people can't come and directly affect them. They can't go and hold them accountable for what they did. They can't mess with them. They're basically protected, right? However, the only way you can go and affect them is by choosing to incarnate and go and affect them. But if you incarnate, you're gonna forget who you are. That's the whole problem. That's the game here. So all these beings started incarnating, and they started forgetting who they were. And the beings that escaped prosecution also forgot who they were, right? But they were living out the programming of the Orion Wars on Earth, elites and all this stuff, fallen angel stories. So just long story short, now I'm almost done here. What I found out, and this was the biggest revelation during my ayahuasca journey, mind blown, like I have notes like crazy, was the name of this portal was the portal to descension.
Wow.
I was the gatekeeper of the portal to descension on Orion. And then I came to the planet to correct it, and I created the portal to ascension as the answer to the ascension process. Crazy.
That is incredible. And I need to get myself to Glastonbury. That is
that is amazing. Beautiful. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Neil, for answering. Daniela, Elisa, if you wanted to ask something, that's your chance now.
Yeah, Neil, I loved everything you said. Like, I mean, it's so in depth. I do have a question. If you have any intel on this, what's your opinion on Ark of the Covenant? Anything on that you could share?
Yeah. So the Ark of the Covenant, in my perspective, opinion, was a technology that held a 0-point technology inside of it that could have been from ancient civilization or Atlantis. When you look at the story of Moses, I alluded to it earlier. Why did it take them 40 years to get to the promised land? It should only take a couple of months. The reason why it took that long, if you read the original text, was the Ark of the Covenant, they didn't carry it. It would levitate by itself. It would move, and then it would sit down and chill. And they had a doctrine from Moses that we are only supposed to move when the Ark of the Covenant moves. So they would follow it. So the Ark of the Covenant would raise, levitate, go somewhere else. They would set up shop there for as many years as they need to. The Ark of the Covenant will get up again. It will start levitating. And 40 years later, it ended up and they settled in the promised land. So it was some sort of technology, right? So my opinion is that it probably held some sort of secret technology from Atlantis, if you feel Egypt's connection to Atlantis. And that even goes into the stories of the Ethiopian priests that supposedly have been protecting the Ark of the Covenant for generations, and the stories that come out of Ethiopia that these people died at a very young age because they get radiation poisoning from protecting the Ark of the Covenant. And this is from people who aren't into UFOs and New Age. This is the guy, the Ethiopian taxi driver in England just a couple months ago. And because he's from Ethiopia, I had to be like, oh yeah, the original Christians, you know? And then I started speaking to him about the Ark of the Covenant. And he's not in this world at all. He's a devout Christian. And he even said, yeah, I know where this is. People are there and they supposedly protect the Ark of the Covenant. And yes, they do die early from radiation poisoning, which is something that could actually be happening from, you know, some sort of energy device. That's my opinion on it.
No, thank you so much. No, that's interesting. Thank you.
Welcome.
That is interesting. Yeah, I'm super convinced too that it's ET technology, and there are some wild projects going on currently regarding that. I know there are some people that reportedly have found multiple of these arcs. So there's not just one, but multiple of them, and some teams are digging into that, which is kind of interesting too. Daniela, you were about to ask something too.
I'm just so excited to be here at this time, all with you together in our hearts, that we're meeting at the right place at the right time, with all of us with open heart in Glastonbury. Everybody is working on their soul, and I just will give the question to Greg. I know he is. I will give my question to Greg, but I'm so honored. Neil, Kidri, Sarah B, Sarah Zula, Tim, I'm just Greg. It's just I love you all and everybody who is with us today on this beautiful phone call. See you all in Glastonbury. And Greg.
Well, that was beautiful. Greg, you have a free shot though. Then.
Whoa. Well, I can't pass up this opportunity. And I'd like to direct my question actually to you, Tim, if I may. And when you were on that conversation with Neil, you mentioned briefly, you were talking about being 6 and then some of the other beings that exist at level 6. And you said that there was a single being at being 6 that is regressive. And my question is, how many consciousness exists at level 6? And is that one being the oversoul for negativity in our reality?
Yeah, it's interesting. Thank you so much, Greg, and I feel honored that your right. Second question goes to me. Yeah, we were talking about that, Neil and I, yesterday, and it's on his channel, Portal to Ascension, the YouTube channel too. So we were talking about the negativity that is in this realm. So we have a 95:5 ratio, which was exactly, I think, was what Neil was saying when he was saying he estimated 95% of all beings are benevolent, and that is something that the statistics of these advanced projects came up with too. But with time and more experience, we become more aware that we are all one. So we solved things differently. We learn new skills. We become more harmonious and more benevolent in many ways. So at level 5 consciousness, we already have gigantic universes full of beautiful energetic beings that are already here. The spirit world, Kedrich is nodding, and Neil knows about all these other spirits too, energetical beings, and that's all us. When we go even further to the level of consciousness as level 6 consciousness, where being 6 is living too, we have countless beings, 99, all beings in existence that are actually very, very, very benevolent, but there's only just one singular being left in this universe that is isolated, which is showing us that when we go from level 3 consciousness, this realm, 95% is already kind of sociable, kind of you get along with them quite well. 5% still, but the higher we go, the more experience we have, and up to at level 6 consciousness, there's only this one singular being. How does this being look like? It's not as much a a human body or something. It's more a form of consciousness. It's the negation of good. So it only exists because there needs to be one being that is the contrary of all this beautiful light that we have, all this beautiful benevolent structure. But also this one being is kind of isolated in its world, which comes from the fact that this being had multiple lives and situations where it either he, she, it, they, them, whatever, actually had negative experiences, and that brought this being into some form of despair, where it feels isolated and it feels there's no hope in this universe. It's suicidal, but also frustrated, because suicide, we are this universe. You can't get rid of this. So in the story goes that all of us, all these beings, we decided to merge in some kind of way, because we already are parts of this being too. So all of us are just proxy healers for this being. And sometimes, so basically we solve this one drop of tears with the whole ocean of the universe. And so it's not so terrific and horrible for this one being anymore. But that also means that all of us go through healings. We all do healings for ourselves and for this being and for the whole universe too. Sarah is nodding. Do you want to add something to that?
It's so funny. One, I've just enjoyed listening to everyone tonight. So thank you, Neil and Kadrick and Sarah and Daniela and Elisa and Greg and Tim. I've enjoyed listening to everyone, but I remember one of the first times I heard you speak about this one being that was isolated, I just had this deep level of awareness flash before my eyes. I'm like, this is the shadow work we're all doing on the planet. This is the darkness we have within us that we're learning to heal. Like it's so amazing what kind of impact we all make on the all, and what happens as we learn to heal ourselves, as we learn to integrate, as we learn to have compassion for the darkness as we experience it in our own ways. And I felt in my heart that we're healing that being. And then I sat back and I'm like, oh, is this that optimist Sarah that thinks that the whole world can be at the highest form of love? Like, you think we're healing that being? And it's so funny that you just said that, because I never ever heard you speak about that like that. And that just, I felt that in my heart. So it's just so beautiful to hear. It's a challenging thing of what we took on, that we've chosen that, but it's also like it can bring tears to my eyes as I think about how every single time we heal, we're healing the all, but we're not only healing the all, it's like that universe version of us on being 6, we're also healing that aspect of us that was so frustrated, that was so isolated, that was so alone and had no hope. We're bringing hope to that part of us. And that's just magnificent to me. Like, that's a hero's journey for the books. I wish I could make a movie based on that. Maybe we will.
Oh my God, that would be such a Marvel movie. I love it.
I have so many movies in my head. Someone hire me.
That's awesome. You should work on that. Okay. Everyone at home, if you're fans of this movie, soon in your theaters, hopefully. Let's manifest it. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing that we are here to heal and to ascend ourselves, and also to learn all these insights. And today we had so many great people in front of the camera doing their soul work here live for us. Thank you all. Sarah Zula, thank you so much. Sarah Brexman-Carson, Kedrich Olsen, thank you so much. And of course, Neil, thank you so much for sharing all your insights. Yeah, visit Portal to Ascension, see us on the conference. It was a beautiful day, beautiful meditation, beautiful life. Please don't forget to put a comment under the video if you know or guess what this couple is having in their hands. It's something unexpected. I already saw some guesses. Pizza is not correct, but it's a good one. So thank you all. Thank you very, very much, and see you soon.